Meeting conversational bullies is bound to happen. Many people react with insults or avoiding them, but there's a smarter approach. Look to Russell Brand for inspiration as he handles them in a unique way. Discover how to take charge of the conversation, assert yourself, and avoid being rude. In his MSNBC morning show interview, Brand demonstrates effective tactics to overpower any bully. Let's explore general tips for group interactions and explore how to manage challenging situations. Imagine this scenario. You're excited to join a conversation and express your thoughts, but just as you're about to speak up, someone rudely interrupts you, cutting off your chance to be heard. It's as if a door slams shut, silencing your opinions and making you feel invisible. This subtle act sends a message that your voice doesn't matter, and unfortunately, it gives others the green light to dominate and disregard your input even further. When you begin talking, it's usually best to continue to the end of your sentence, like this.
Your program.
Okay, no,
you did ask to see.
No, I did,
boots,
and I
you're
liked
a fellow Englishwoman. So
and we do.
You don't have to control every conversation or reject interruptions during lengthy monologues. However, it's important to speak with enough flow and energy to complete your sentences before allowing others to interrupt. This is going to lead to people being far more likely to listen when you share your opinions, and you can contrast the feeling that you get from watching Russell do this.
Okay, Russell. Ooh,
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
You just disrespected the table.
The table
Giant Jenga. It's like your desk is a puzzle.
It is. I'm sorry about that.
What is the solution?
With the young Jaden Smith, who does not.
How does that keep you humble?
No, the truth.
Well, because people sort of...
It's not that Jaden's ideas aren't valuable, but he hadn't learned how to speak confidently to be taken seriously. By finishing your sentences, you encourage others to respect you more. Another important rule in groups is to treat each person as an individual. One simple way to do this is by using their name when talking to them.
Brian, you are free to wear whatever you want. Best you focus on your driving, Brian. So thank you very much, Kat.
I understand that it may feel a bit awkward at first, but using someone's name has a surprisingly positive effect. It's like hearing their favorite word in the English language. Even if you don't know everyone's name, you can still show that you value each person by making eye contact with them while you speak. This is especially important for those who are quiet or shy. Just 3 seconds of eye contact can make them feel included and appreciated. In fact, if you notice that you're losing the group's attention while sharing a story or a joke, this technique can quickly regain their focus. Give each individual a few seconds of your undivided attention to keep them engaged. It's natural for us to prefer people who are similar to us and who also like us. Therefore, when you're in a group, it's beneficial to focus on the things you have in common with other members.
Fellow Englishwoman, so I feel obliged.
And to give sincere compliments.
You also look beautiful, of course, in your wonderful country and in our country. You're a powerful woman, you've got a lovely job. What seems to be the trouble?
You've seen Russell use the techniques I mentioned, but conversations can still become hostile despite your efforts. I'll show you how to diffuse aggression in a subtle and appealing way before direct confrontation is needed. Nonverbal signals have a strong impact on the conversation's tone. Using more signals gets you more of the desired response, while using less signals gets you less of the undesired response. Watch how Russell gets Mika to switch from being rude and passive-aggressive to complimenting him in an effort to win him over.
You look fantastic.
That is a very kind compliment.
First, the calm and direct gaze without malice or a smile can make rude individuals uncomfortable, as if they're being watched. Second, ignoring that person can also change their behavior. When Russell's attention wanders, the host feels the need to be kind to regain his attention. And third, prolonged silence is a potent nonverbal tool when facing unkindness. You might feel tempted to speak or smile to ease the tension, but Russell waits until Mika compliments him before responding swiftly.
Loosen up a little, show a little more chest hair, and he said maybe I should do a little more.
I only think Russell can do that. You look fantastic.
That is a very kind compliment.
Now that she has finished being rude and has returned to being kind, he gives strong more signals. This is going to work in a 1-2 punch where he says don't do this, but do this. Also, see if you can spot these more signals.
You also look beautiful. Brian, you are free to wear whatever you want. This is one of your freedoms that is afforded to you.
I appreciate that.
First, Russell praises Mika's remarks, reinforcing positive behavior. Then he returns the compliment and adds a playful smile. He engages more enthusiastically, easing tension and promoting politeness. By waiting for kindness instead of eliminating tension during rudeness, he sets expectations for desired behavior. Russell continues to focus on Mika, who is being courteous, while Brian remains rude. In fact, Brian makes a comment about how he can't understand Russell's accent.
It's funny, though, because I travel a lot.
All these people are at work, are they?
Yeah, they're working.
They're just at work.
Well, no.
Work more quietly!
Russell then ignores Brian completely, which is a clever tactic. Surprisingly, this leads Brian to ask a more polite question, and Russell responds positively.
Everyone asks, what do you like better, TV, movies, or stand-up? But which one's more difficult?
In group conversations, when someone is being rude or insulting, shift your focus to the polite individuals. Face them, smile, and engage warmly with them. Be attentive and even speak louder when interacting with them. Soon enough, the rude person will likely change their tone and say something kinder. Once that happens, you can redirect your attention towards them. Another indirect option is to make a reference to those types of people. You mention a behavior you don't like, which someone in the group might be displaying, but without directly naming them. It's a way to address that behavior without pointing fingers. By smiling, you show that you're still part of the same team. You're not saying that they are that specific type of person so they can maintain their dignity. Pay attention to how Russell does this in his answer.
There are challenges in all of those different disciplines. The thing I enjoy the most is stand-up comedy.
That those type strategy is a sneaky way to influence the tone of any sort of conversation. Imagine being at a networking event and complimenting one group on their enthusiasm, talking about those other types who are a little bit dull and boring. You can bet that that group's energy will rise to meet that stellar reputation you've given them and not be like those other people. Now, unfortunately, these signals do go unheeded in Russell's case, as they rarely but sometimes do in real life. The hosts continue to be rude. Brian abruptly says that he can't understand Russell's accent.
The accent, when I see him in person, it's totally fine. Forgetting Sarah Marshall or the TV show, it's fine. But on satellite radio in the car, I can't understand a single joke you say.
You can't understand it.
Another host forgets his name, and they all start speaking about Russell in the third person, like he's not present.
Would you do therapy with Willy Brandt?
With who?
Willy Brandt. Would you do therapy with him? That is where Willy is heading.
Who is Willy?
After nonverbal and then indirect those type warnings, sometimes you have to be clear and directly communicate the behavior you would like to see change.
Experience. It's just sort of taking it all in.
You are talking about me as if I'm not here
transfixed.
and as if I'm an extraterrestrial.
Some people make the mistake of making things even more hostile. The important thing is to criticize specific behavior, not the people themselves. Calling someone a jerk will make them defensive and won't explain what you want them to change. Instead, saying, "Don't call me that," or "Please speak to me respectfully," is more effective. What Russell does is difficult: staying calm, making eye contact, and keeping a sense of humor even when faced with hostility. Most of us would probably feel stressed and either not react enough or react too strongly. I want to share one last mindset that might take time to develop but can be really helpful. It's about learning to detach your ego from personal insults. Take a look at how Brand is able to take a personal criticism, namely that he isn't qualified to speak on a particular topic, and brush it off.
I'm not having a go at you about that. I'm just asking you why we should take you seriously when you're so unspecific.
You don't have to take... Well, firstly, I don't mind if you take me seriously.
Russell doesn't feel the urge to defend himself against personal attacks because he isn't deeply concerned about others' opinions of him. This frees up his mental energy, enabling him to respond cleverly to criticism. Surprisingly, not defending himself actually improves his image more than if he did. Developing a strong sense of self-acceptance helps detach your ego from personal attacks. When you are comfortable with who you are at your core, the opinions and comments of others have less impact on you. Solid self-acceptance means your self-worth isn't solely dependent on praise or popularity. It stems from the belief that you are enough, regardless of others' opinions. This journey takes time, but is achievable with the right mindset. If you enjoyed this content, be sure to pop the subscribe button for more amazing videos.